everyone and welcome back to Sonic 3 and Knuckles on the SEGA Mega Drive. I am one wild sheep yet again, and today we're going to be taking on the Marble Garden Zone. And is this a fine zone? Well, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but a lot of people tend to like this zone, so I'm going to be inclined to follow on with what they say. Now, the main gimmick about this zone is that the zone will periodically change. There's going to be a couple of reasons why it changes. In this first act, it doesn't really happen that much, and most of the first act revolves around finding blue switches and spinning on the blue switches, and it'll destroy the environment, allowing you to progress further. Now, if you see by here, these crushing things, don't go and spin dash through them, because the second one will likely kill you. So yeah, don't do that. Instead, I'm going to go a completely different route, and I will be showing off that route again a bit later on, I believe, as Knuckles, so do not fret, folks. I am doing two run-throughs of this game, one as Sonic and one as Knuckles. Now, most people will probably question why. The real reason why is actually because the Knuckles portion of the game is quite a bit different from the Sonic portion. So I'm kind of, I'm not too fussed about redoing the game a second time as a different character. I'm not doing it as Tails though, because Tails' gameplay is literally exactly the same as Sonic's. The exception is Tails can fly. The level design is the same, everything is the same as Tails, so yeah, I'm not really fussed with Tails. But one of the main gimmicks about this zone is these new flying saucer thingies. Now, jump on a flying saucer thingy, and then move left and right to start hovering. The faster you move left, the higher you'll hover left. The faster you move right, the higher you'll hover right. It's not rocket science. But anyway, now I need to get into Super Sonic. So, in previous Sonic games, like Sonic 2, and that's one of the glitches I told you about with the slopes. It freaking annoys me. But, in Sonic 2, basically if you jumped in the air when you had 50 rings and you had all 7 Chaos Emeralds, you had no choice but to transform into Super Sonic. Now that is no longer as big an issue in this game, because obviously Super Sonic is activated now by pushing the jump button twice. Is it an improvement? Not the biggest improvement in the world for me, because my Mega Drive pad, it's a bit old now. Basically whenever I push the jump button, sometimes it'll double register me pushing the jump button, so sometimes Super Sonic will just be transformed and I have no choice to say about it. It's quite annoying. Anyway, these little statue things by here, basically just boop them in the eye. That's gotta be painful, isn't it? Just have a hedgehog jump into your eyeball. Eee. But basically boop them in the eye, and yeah, good times ahead. And if you go in here, you can collect a special ring. Now, the special stage rings, when you actually have the 7 Chaos Emeralds, serve a completely different purpose. What they basically do is they give you 50 rings right off the bat, which basically, what happens when you get them is they become instant super form. And when you are in super form, well, basically, things you normally need to spin dash to get through, like breakable walls, well, you can simply just face ram them and they will explode, or jump into them and they'll explode. And it's kind of extremely useful, I'll be completely honest. And this isn't the only time we're going to see an ability like that, because Knuckles naturally has the ability to face slam through walls later on in the playthrough, so there's that. Maybe this is how Sonic learned to do it in Sonic 4. I was always wondering why in Sonic 4 he had the ability to just ram his face into the wall and the wall will just disintegrate. Anyway, this boss by here, it's basically a clone of the Mystic Cave Zone from Sonic 2. He goes up, spikes come down, he comes down, you hit him, rinse, repeat, Bob's your uncle. And that is Act 1 of Marble Garden Zone. Not a bad stage, if I do say so myself. But yeah, Super Sonic can be a bit of a nightmare, even in this game. It wasn't really until Sonic Colors that they fixed that issue, when you accidentally transform into him. Well, then again, in the other 3D games, they sort of fixed that issue because, well, he's not a playable character for most part in other 3D games. Like, after this game, they basically stopped using Super Sonic as a character you can transform into during gameplay, and they sort of relegated him into his own little side level, which I like in a way, because obviously then they can focus on improving his side level gameplay, but I don't know, I just the entire idea of breaking the game for your own reasons, just being able to break the game after you beat it, it just sounds, it's just such a good reward for collecting things. Collect all 7 Chaos Emeralds. Haha, the game now is no challenge. Although Supersonic, despite being an invincible powerhouse, he can still get crushed. And I have been killed as Super Form before, and it is not fun when it happens. In fact, yeah, I think that's literally his main weakness, getting crushed. Well, I know Wily hasn't made a Spike Wall Man for Mega Man, so why hasn't Eggman made a bloody Crusher Room robot? Can you make it out of here, Sonic? No way! I can't believe this! And it's just walls crushing Sonic, and Sonic's like, oh no! Good thing I have extra lives. Whoa! But I digress. Anyway, just keep using this saucer thingy to continue moving through the stage, and for the most part, Act 2 is not much different from Act 1, and that Bubbles. Those badniks that I just ran into are called Bubbles, and oh my god, that specific badnik hits me every single time I've played this game, bar once. There has only ever been one time I've played this game, and that badnik has not hit me. And I have it in recording for the Knuckles run as well, so I'm kinda happy about that. But of course, another gimmick about this are these little pulley strings. Whenever you go on certain hills, the hills are too steep for you to get up, and basically, you have nowhere to get up other than to grab onto the pulley things that'll pull you up and allow you to go, whoa! It's like hiking with style. I don't know what hiking with style could possibly be. I have no idea. Anyway, watch out for these big ball and chain things as well. They're probably the biggest obstacle in this zone, and for the most part, this zone is actually quite a bit easy. The only reason I really can imagine people getting killed in this zone is, well, the spikes. Basically, the spikes and the ball and chains that are popping about everywhere, and the Bubbles badniks that sort of meander around. Bubbles are actually quite a derpy badnik, I have to say, because they just sort of, look at them. They look so vacant. There's nothing going on in their brains. They're just sort of floating around like, duh, it's Blue Hedgehog coming. Oh, your god. Anyway, just jump over and continue onwards. Now, I don't know what the stuff is meant to be on the ground. I used to call it chocolate. I think it's meant to be tar. I'm not sure. I like calling it chocolate. Like, oh no, I'm stuck in the chocolate. Tails, get me out of here. Either way, just continue. This stage is kind of boring. But one of the big things about Act 2 of the stage, as you'll find out, is actually Eggman, because Eggman will periodically pop up. And when he pops up, basically the entire layout of the stage will change entirely, so yeah. Of course, you see me being a little careful by here, it's because I thought I was in the wrong part of the level. Hey, there he is, speak of the devil. Think you can make it through here? So yeah, Eggman's going to pop up and the entire level layout's going to just change, and basically you need to try and keep up with the level, otherwise you risk getting crushed by the stage, and it's not that big a deal to be fair, because if you die, well, you're probably going to respawn like 5 feet away. But just be careful, that's all I can say. Honestly though, fun times ahead. And this is the most interesting part of the level, I'm not kidding. One of the big reasons why I'm not a fan of this stage is just because it is so boring. There's nothing going on for the most part. And the main problem I have with Sonic 3 and Knuckles as a whole is probably just the main level design as a whole, because the levels tend to drag out a lot longer than the levels in other Sonic games. It's really, I don't know, it's just a tedious game in comparison to the others. Is it fun? Yeah. Is the level design good? Yeah. I digress. Anyway, finally, we're on to the boss fight. Now, to start things off, Eggman's going to slowly drop down from the screen, and if you... How did I get hit? No matter. You can actually use that opportunity to hit him a few times, and if you hit Eggman like 8 to 9 times, when he's in the transitional phase of starting up the boss fight, it will take only one boop in order to kill him when you actually get to this phase. Now for this phase, Eggman's going to start flying back and forth between the screen, and even though I'm supersonic right now, I still have to use the same mechanics to beat him, so there we go. Basically, Tails will be there to help you out. You can move up and down as Tails, left and right, and use the jump button to jump off of Tails and boop Eggman in the head. He's going to come from various directions. Just look where he's going in the background to show which direction he's coming from. And to be fair, this boss fight is easy. Kinda easy to die to as well if you're not careful. And this is Tails' hardest boss because, as you can imagine, Tails has no way to actually hurt Eggman from jumping or anything because he's the one flying. So basically fighting this boss as Tails basically means you need to slowly move up from the bottom of Eggman and attack him using your actual Tails blades. You know, the blades of your tails. And unfortunately, the way that works is the hitbox is finicky. Oh boy, is it finicky. But anyway, that has been Marble Garden Zone, so now we're moving on to my least favourite stage in quite possibly the franchise. I hate this level. I hate this level. Hate Snivelly. I hate this hedgehog. Seriously though, it's the Carnival Night Zone. Oh my good god. This stage is just, level design is a mess. There's just so many bumpers everywhere. Oh, this is probably the most you're going to see me rage or complain about a Sonic game until I get to modern games in the franchise. But seriously, this stage is not fun. You got all these floaty platforms everywhere, which are kind of cool, I guess. But whenever you get a bit of speed, something is going to be there just to be like, haha, you want to go fast? Nope. Ugh. Although these circular ball platforms are pretty cool. Basically, if you land on them, you have sort of like a Mario Galaxy sort of deal going on where you can sort of run around them and use them as a little platform to get up higher or to go wherever you want. But seriously, this stage is just filled with traps, filled with just evil badniks, and it doesn't even have a good soundtrack. I honestly, this is the only stage in classic Sonic games I can, well, the original classic trilogy. I'm not counting the Game Gear or Master System games for a minute. But this is probably the only stage in these games that I can consider to be just awful. Is it playable? Yeah, I guess. It's just not good. But anyway, enough complaining. As I said before, the main gimmicks of the stage are bumpers everywhere, which will bump you about. You got loads of these sort of types of bumpers. You have springs, more bumpers. Hell, even the badniks will bump you. If you jump on an enemy, like that enemy that's so shelled in and shoots cannonballs at you periodically, basically, he will bump you. I'm starting to see this the level design thoughts behind the team of this one. Carnival level. What should we put in this one, boss? Bumpers. Lots and lots and lots of bumpers. I don't always use bumpers, but when I do, I go mad. It's like that, I suddenly just got a picture of that army guy from the guy from the Simpsons movie from the Environmental Protection Agency. I want them all organized like this. Tough, weak, tough, see, you know, it just sort of, I can just imagine them, I can imagine whoever the level designer for this game just sitting down and going, okay, I want the bumpers organized like this. Bouncy, 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 enemy, bouncy, bouncy, spring. It's just, Anyway, this boss fight here, very easy boss fight if I do say so myself. Just basically jump on him and he'll open up his weak point. When his weak point's open, his little cylinder Beyblade, let her rip, will basically bounce across the room. If it hits his weak point, he dies. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, the boss goes down without a problem. Ooh, saucy. And unfortunately, we do need to wait for this platform to sort of land until we can get the... There we go, we can finish the stage. Now, one thing I'm not really sure enough with that goalpost is actually if the signpost, goalpost? I'm thinking of rugby. If the signpost pops down from the sky and you jump into it, you can actually bounce it around and get bonus points. And depending on where it lands, like you saw earlier on in the first part of the playthrough, you can actually get items out of the floor. If you get a good item, well, there we go, you get a good item. Like in the first part of the playthrough, you saw like I think it was a water shield pop on the floor, I can't remember. Basically that item will always pop on the floor if you don't touch the signpost after beating the first boss. Anyway, this is like the one time I'm thankful they put in a floaty platform, just because otherwise I'd be having a very spiky dinner tonight. Mega Man would be crying himself to sleep at the thoughts of this level. Actually, no, Mega Man wouldn't be too bad for this level. It's the previous level where he'd just cry himself to sleep. It's like, oh my god, the spikes! There we go, Wily should make a Sonic level and force Mega Man to play through it. That'll be difficult. Or it'll be somewhat like in that fan game Mushroom Kingdom Fusion, where the levels are all designed like Mario levels, but you can play as Mario, Sonic, etc., whoever you want. I might show that off for the channel sometime, because it's quite an interesting little game. Anyway, I digress. Let's just continue moving onwards. Now, in Act 2, things sort of change slightly. Not much, just slightly. Because we're going to run into, guess who? Knuckles! Again in this act. Gee, what a surprise. He's only shown up in 2 out of the 3 levels we've been in so far. But anyway, basically, what's he going to do? I'm not going to spoil it, but he actually makes this level a bit more bearable for me, because right now my eyes are bleeding. It could be because my screen is like a weird contrast, I don't know, but either way, I've always found Carnival Night Zone to hurt my eyes. I think it's just the use of colours more so than the actual colours used, because I love myself some colour. I played through Sunset Overdrive. It's like the most colourful thing you'll ever experience, but... So I know it's not because of the colours alone, but either way, what he does is he turns off the lights! Woo! Riveting! And basically what happens when he turns off lights is nothing. Honestly, it makes no difference to the level design, he just literally does this just to be a dick. Although, if you didn't read the instruction book, you wouldn't know that Knuckles is essentially a good guy who just doesn't know better, because when he's messing about with you with all these traps, he gives you this really evil chuckle. It's just, I don't know, I love it. I just love the fact that Knuckles gives you that insane chuckle. But trust me, he's a good guy. He just really enjoys what he does. Of course, now that we have Bubble Shield as Supersonic, even though you can't actually see the Bubble Shield, you can actually use the abilities of the Bubble Shield as Supersonic. This sort of trait only applies to both the Bubble Shield and the Electric Shield. I don't think it works with the Fire Shield. So basically, if I jump again and run in the air, I can bounce off the floor. And I can actually use the bounce attack, which is pretty cool. I like it. I like it. Of course, this still doesn't change the fact that if you're playing as Supersonic, and don't go by that, you will die. But if you're playing as Supersonic and you have an Electric Shield, you basically become a god. Nothing can stop you because you're super. Rings coming towards you, so you don't even need to go on your ring to collect rings. And as your super form, your ring count goes down. With that, your ring count basically stays still. You're basically god. Anyway, what I'm about to show you is how you're meant to get this Bubble Shield to use. You basically need to use the sort of bouncy thingies to get up there. And I'm surprised they didn't do more with platforming style like this, because as much as the bouncy platforms annoy me beyond belief, but I like the idea of using the bouncy platforms as a way to augment, is that the word? You know, to improve your platforming. That's something I think they should have done with this zone. Wasted opportunity, Sega. I expect it in Sonic the Hedgehog 5. Not that there's gonna be a Sonic 5. Sonic 4 didn't really do that well. I actually like Sonic 4 as well, which is a shame. It's just... No, I won't get into that, actually. That's an LP for another time. I think I better leave that. Welcome to Sonic 3, where we talk about Sonic the Hedgehog 4. Whoa! That was the worst Sonic impression I've done yet. I think my voice is literally starting to die. Again, benefits of doing Let's Plays when you're ill. But I digress. Let's just continue moving onwards. And hopefully we can get through the stage just fine. Now these little barrel platforms you've seen throughout the stage as well, if you jump on them, it's a barrel of laughs. Basically there's one specific barrel platform later on in the level, or was it earlier? We're either going to see that or we have seen the barrel platform. But basically what it does is it traps you. You're trapped in a room and there's no way to get out. Unless, of course, you know how to manipulate the barrels. And basically, how you manipulate the barrels is basically you push up and down. That's all there is to it. Anyway, these bat badniks, not a big deal. They sort of float around. They're nothing compared to the bats in Zelda, which... God damn. The bats in Zelda. I'm really getting off topic in this playthrough. I think it's because this part's going on for so long now, and it's just... These are the worst 2 levels in the game. The commentary is going to improve in the next part. I can guarantee that. I literally think I've spoken everything I can about this. Although my experience with this level, that's something I haven't spoke about. Yay, commentary filler! Basically, my experience with this level overall is... I used to hate it for different reasons than I hate it now. Now I hate it because it's just bouncing everywhere. But I used to hate it when I was a kid because I used to get stuck. I used to not be able to complete this level. It used to be such an annoying thing. And here we go, this is the platform everyone gets stuck on. Essentially, what you have to do by here is press up and down at the right time. Press down when the platform goes down, press up when it goes up, and that's all there is to it. I used to think it was completely wrong, and you had to jump on the platform at the right time. I don't know how I got past this section, because I actually did get past this section while jumping on the platform. I didn't use the up and down mechanic until I learned that's how you're meant to do it for years, so... Yeah. I don't think I've ever been able to replicate getting up and down on that platform just by bouncing either. Either way, that platform, a nightmare, and this section is just... God damn, whoever designed this carnival, it's probably Eggman. Anyway, if you go up here, you can get yourself a fantastic special ring. Not that you really need them. Just in case. Oh, I say not that you need them, but hey, you never know. You never know. You might love the idea of turning super and just breaking the entire level. Something I'm really tempted to do right now because this stage is going on nigh 5 minutes. See, that's probably why my commentary is failing. My commentary for each level is usually designed so I can get the commentary through in about 3 minutes time because the levels usually last 3 minutes. Either way, the level length is a bit of a trend you're going to see in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and during the second half it becomes obnoxious in one particular zone. For the most part, it's not too bad here. Anyway, yeah, Knuckles, you actually helped us. It's quite strange how Knuckles helped us by here. Anyway, meet the boss fight, thank God. Now what this boss is going to do, he's basically going to shoot down his giant ball of death at you, his green ball of death. I'm going to try and not turn super for this. And when he does, he's going to run towards the ball of death, and don't do what I just did. You're going to want to use the insta-shield, to be honest, if you want to hit him. He's going to shoot electricity at it. And this electricity will act as a sort of vortex to suck you in. And that's pretty much all he does. He goes down, pick up a ball, and that's it. Honestly, the boss is easy. You could say that he sucks. Anyway, considering this part has been bland levels the part, the next episode is actually going to be the interesting one because that's when the game starts picking up again. So, thank you all for watching, hope you all enjoyed, don't be sheepish people, and when we return next time, we'll take on... There we go. We will take on Ice Cap Zone. Quite possibly one of my favourite stages in the game, so... don't be sheepish people, thanks for watching, I'll see you after. Bye!